In huge letters, Bob Smith. Are you getting enough big black willy? R AskReddit by Lurker. What's your caught in a NSFW situation at work? Back in the early 2000s there was a NSFW prank floating around the internet. If you clicked it, a looping video of two guys going at it popped up on your screen and the PC speaker squawked, "Hey everybody, I'm watching gay porn." That wasn't the worst of it. If you tried to close the browser it spawned two more and kept spawning more if you closed those. I worked in IT and thought it was a hilarious prank, so I sent it to my supervisor in an email titled, "Important System Update." We always played practical jokes on each other and this would have just been par for the course. Only problem is he thought it was legit and sent it to the whole floor. My horror when only a few moments later I hear it playing on one PC, then another. Almost everyone in the office had clicked the link. People panicked, turned off their systems, losing all their work. It was a huge shit show. Believe it or not, I never got fired and actually got promoted a year later. For a while I was sort of dating our secretary. One day after work, after everyone had gone home, she came into my office and we ended up having a great time on my desk. About halfway through I picked her up and pushed her against the glazed glass wall of my office while she was straddling me. After I got tired, she turned around facing the glass and we continued until I finished. I had forgotten about the security cameras in the hallways and entrance. About 3 days later I get to work and there is a DVD plus R on my desk with a note, "Hope you had fun," and it was on the camera that points almost directly at my office because it is on a corner. You could a lot more than I thought you could through those glazed windows. Security guys are either blackmailing me or a bro. Not me but a past co-worker. We'll call him Bob Smith. He had logged into a shared computer in our lab one day and he pulled up Outlook and then turned around to do something with his phone while Outlook loaded. Well, let me tell you, our corporate mail filter failed that day. I walk in to see Bob turned away from the screen, and on the screen, in the Outlook preview pane, nearly full screened, was an email, in huge letters, "Bob Smith, are you getting enough big black willy?" And of course, this lovely email was accompanied by a picture showing exactly what they were talking about. Just in case you were unsure, I try to suppress a laugh and just say to him, "Well, Bob, are you?" He looked at me, "Am I what? What are you talking about?" I point to the screen. He can't hit that delete button fast enough. The words "well, are you?" with no further context for anyone else overhearing, became a running joke between us. Not me but a close friend. He worked as a vet tech, cleaning kennels, walking the dogs, changing bandages, etc. He was good friends with the boss lady and she would bring her shepherd mix pups to stay in the kennels some weekends, especially if she was out of town or busy. One Sunday morning he ran up to take care of the animals and the pups were there. They loved to play. So, after cleaning and caring for the other animals, he went into their run and was tossing the ball and roughhousing with these two dogs. One dog jumped on him from behind and its paw slid into his front pocket, pulling down his pants. Right at this moment, with his pants around his ankles, one dog in front waiting and the other behind him, he realized that maybe today was not the day to go commando, especially as his boss walks in at that precise moment to see him, with her beloved puppas, hanging out in all his glory. He called me when he got home laughing and crying. His boss simply took the dogs and walked out without saying a word. Fortunately, it wasn't a rom-com movie, so he was able to explain the next day. Her only comment was, "Let's remember to wear underwear from now on, okay?" I was at work, we were closed, and I was the only one still there. We close at 2 PM. And sometimes delivery guys forget and still show up to drop off packages. I had just gone to the bathroom and put a small vibrator in my panties, walked out, and the doorbell rang. Without thinking, I went to the front and opened the door. I kind of froze when the delivery guy walked in and started toward the back where they usually leave the packages, because I'm standing there and you can hear the buzzing. I had to follow him so that I could sign for the package once he dropped it off. I'm not sure if he heard it buzzing, but it was super quiet in there with no one around. so I'm fairly certain he did. What makes this worse is that I'm the regional director, so if he mentioned it to anyone else the next time he delivered, he would be mentioning it to my direct reports. No one ever said anything to me about it. Another time, I was texting my boyfriend and one of my employees at the same time. I messaged my BF telling him I really need some willy. A couple of hours later, he hadn't responded to that particular message. So I looked at my messages to be sure I sent it, and noticed it wasn't in my message history with him. Sudden realization hits. So I checked my texts with my employee, and sure shit, I had sent it to her. I immediately sent her an apology message, and she responded back saying that she and her wife were at Kohl's when she got the message and that she busted out laughing and decided not to respond, but to let me figure it out on my own that I had fricked up. Good thing she's a lesbian and not a male employee, or that could have been very bad. I don't know if this counts, but I worked for a call center a couple years ago, and when we asked someone their name we had to say, "And who do I have the pleasure of speaking with today?" Well, for some freaking reason why, I have no idea, I asked the lady on the phone, "And who do I have the pleasure of sleeping with today?" The girl who sits next to me looked at me wide-eyed, and then I realized what I said and apologized profusely. The lady on the phone just started cracking up and then told me her name was Marianne. Edit. To answer the important question, I am sorry to say I did not sleep with Marianne. I used to be a bouncer at a bar in college. One night I was stationed outside the washroom, beside the stage, overlooking the dance floor. One girl was visiting the washroom far too frequently, and started grazing up against me. So I took the hint and we started talking. After she made it clear she wanted to get fricked right there, and realizing I wasn't going to be off work for a few hours, I took her to the basement where the manager's office is, and we have a small lounge with couches for after hours activities. However, one of the bus boys noticed us on the couch without recognizing me, and told the owner two drunk people were hooking up in the basement. He comes downstairs and yells before entering the room, which scared me into leaping up. He entered to see my fully erect penis swinging like a doorstopper spring and shielded his eyes like he had accidentally stared at the sun. We still laugh about it to this day. A few weeks after I started at a new company, they hired a new, and very pretty, secretary near me. Every dude at the office was getting shot down by her, except some guy on the second floor. The guy was your typical jacked, tan, slick hair sorta guy that can win a woman over with a smile. He won her attention, and every day I'd overhear him flirting with her hard over at her desk. Anyway, fast forward another couple months to some random work day. I need to go do a supplies run and my boss needed some stuff too. So we take a walk over to the small supply closet. He unlocks the door and we walk in to see the secretary and this tan guy going at it hard. There was a good few seconds of us all making direct eye contact when my boss closes the door and walks away without saying a word. I wasn't sure what to do, so just sort of go back to my desk. An hour goes by and I still haven't seen my boss or the secretary, and I'm not sure any of my co-workers would believe it if I said anything. All of a sudden my desk phone rings. The lady on the line is with HR and wants me in her office now. I get in there and see the secretary crying in one seat in the entrance area beside my boss, who is pale as a ghost. In an office a few feet away, the tan dude is having a screaming match with the HR woman. When I walk in, a similar moment occurred to the storage closet and everyone froze and locked eyes. HR woman comes out of her office and has the tan dude go into her co-worker's office while she invites me in to talk. All of a sudden, when I'm in the office with the HR lady, she starts breaking down crying. I mean sobbing and snorting everywhere. Unsure what to say, or do I ask if she's okay? She apologizes and then tells me that the tan guy's her husband. I have no idea what to do, so just kept saying it'll be okay over and over. First thing that popped into my head. After a few minutes of her crying, she straightens herself out, has me confirm what my boss said happened, then told me I was good to go back to my desk. A bit later my boss comes to my desk and tells me we're going to lunch. The moment we're in his car, he lets out this huge sigh and blankly says, "I had no idea they were married." Both the husband and secretary were fired and the boss and I chuckled about the incident forever. I believe the HR woman ended up getting remarried and Total gossip, so who can tell if it's true? The secretary had given the tan guy herpes. What a ride. At my last job, there was this deaf guy who was non-verbal. The company brought in an ASL translator for every meeting, which was the only time you could really interact with him face to face. Honestly a stand-up guy though. One day I'm in the washroom taking a dump, and I hear something strange in the stall next to me. The steady schlick of someone jerking off, then some grunting. So I finished up quick and left the washroom. It was just me and the masturbator in there. I checked his shoes, then stood outside and pretended to be on the phone. Turns out it was the deaf guy. I just smiled and waved when I saw him. From then on, I noticed that he went to the washroom for a suspiciously long time every day. I guess nobody told him that masturbating makes noise. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these NSFW work stories, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for more content like this. Also comment and subscribe for the YouTube algorithm. Check out these other videos below. See you in the comments.